Hey, you are watching Satellite Communication Lecture Series. Today, we are going to see about the SPADE system. The word SPADE is a loose acronym for SCPC Pulse Code Modulated Multiple Access Demand Assignment Equipment. SPADE was developed by Cosmat for the use of Intelsat satellites and is compatible with the Intelsat SCPC pre-assigned system. However, the distributed demand assignment facility requires a common signaling channel CSC, and this CSC signal is shown in this figure. The CSC bandwidth is 160 kHz and its center frequency is 18.045 MHz below the pilot frequency. To avoid interference with the CSC, voice channels 1 and 2 are left vacant, and to maintain duplex matching, the corresponding channels 1' and 2' are also left vacant. Recalling that the channel 400 also must be left vacant, this requires that channel 800 be left vacant for duplex matching. Thus, 6 channels are removed from the total of 800, leaving a total of 794 one-way or 397 full duplex voice circuits, and the frequencies in any pair being separated by 18.0545 MHz. And all the earth stations are permanently connected to CSC, and this is shown diagrammatically in this diagram. This is, what you see here is the earth station connections through CSC. For six earth stations A, B, C, D, E and F, here each earth station has the facility for generating any of the 794 carrier frequencies using frequency synthesizers. Furthermore, each earth station has a memory containing a list of the frequencies currently available, and this list is continuously updated through the CSC. To illustrate the procedure, suppose that a call to a station F is initiated from station C, and station C will first select a frequency pair at random from those currently available on the list and signal this information to station F through the CSC. Station F must acknowledge through the CSC that it can complete the circuit. Once the circuit is established, the other earth stations are instructed through the CSC to remove this frequency pair from the list. The round trip time between station C initiating the call and the station F acknowledging it is about 600 milliseconds. And during this time, the two frequencies chosen at station C may be assigned to another circuit. In this event, station C will receive the information on the CSC update and will immediately choose another pair at random even before hearing from station F. Once a call has been completed, the circuit is disconnected and the two frequencies are returned to the pole, the information again being transmitted through the CSC to all other earth stations. As well as establishing the connection through the satellite, the CSC passes the signaling information from the calling station to the destination station, in the example above from the station C to station F. Signaling information in the SPAD systems is routed through the CSC rather than being sent over a voice channel. Each earth station has an equipment called a demand assignment signaling and switching, that is DAS unit, which performs the functions required by the CSC. Some type of multiple access to the CSC must be provided for all earth stations using the SPAD systems. This is quite separate from the SCPC multiple access of the network's voice circuits. TDMA is used for this purpose, allowing up to 49 earth stations to access the common signaling channel. Okay. And now let us move on to TDMA. With TDMA, only one carrier uses the transponder at any one time, and therefore the intermodulation products which results from the nonlinear amplification of multiple carriers, and therefore intermodulation process which result from the nonlinear amplification of multiple carriers are also absent here. This leads to the one of the most significant advantages of TDMA, which is that the TWT can be operated at the maximum power output or saturation level. Because the signal information is transmitted in bursts, TDMA is only suited for digital signals. Digital data can be assembled into burst format for transmission and reassembled from the received burst through the use of the digital buffer memories. And this diagram illustrate the basic TDMA concept in which the stations transmits burst in sequence. Burst synchronization is required here, and one station is assigned solely for the purpose of transmitting the reference burst to which the others can be synchronized. The time interval from the start of one reference burst to the next framed as frame. A frame contains the reference burst R and the burst from other earth stations being shown as A, B and C. And this diagram shows the basic principle of the burst transmission for a single channel. Overall, the transmission appears continuous because the input and output bit rates are continuous and equal. However, within the transmission channel, input bits are temporarily stored and transmitted in burst. Since the time interval between the burst is the frame time TF and the required buffer capacity M is equal to RB into TF. The buffer memory fills up at the input bitrate RB during the frame time interval. These M bits are transmitted as a burst in the next frame without any break in continuity of the input. The M bits are transmitted in the burst time TB and the transmission rate, which is equal to the burst bit rate, is given by RTDMA is equal to M divided by TB, which is equal to RB into TF by TB. Okay. And this is also called as burst rate, but note that this means that the instantaneous bit rate within a burst, that is not number of burst per second, which is simply equal to 1 by TB. So it will be seen that the average bit rate for the burst rate is simply M by TF, which is equal to the input and output rates. The frame time TF will be seen to add to the overall propagation delay. For example, in the simple system which is shown in this diagram, even if the actual propagation delay between the transmit and receive buffers is assumed to be 0, the receiving side would still have to wait a time TF before receiving the first transmitted burst. In a geostationary satellite system, the actual propagation delay is a significant fraction of the second, and excessive delays from other causes must be avoided. So this sets an upper limit to the frame time, although the current technology, other factors restrict the frame time to well below the limit. And the frame period is usually chosen to be a multiple of 125 microseconds, which is the standard sampling period used in the pulse code modulation telephony systems. And since this ensures that the PCM samples can be distributed across successive frames at the PCM sampling rate. And this diagram shows the basic units in a TDMA ground station. They are labeled as Earth station for Earth station A. Terrestrial links coming into the Earth station A carry digital traffic addressed to the destination stations labeled as B, C and X. Okay. So it is assumed that the bit rate is the same for the digital traffic on each terrestrial link. In the units labeled as terrestrial interface modules, that is TIM, the incoming continuous bitrate signals are converted into intermittent burst rate mode. And these individual burst mode signals are time division multiplexed in the time division multiplexer so that the traffic for each destination station appears in its assigned time slot within a burst. Certain time slots at the beginning of each burst are used to carry timing and synchronization information, and these time slots are collectively referred as preamble. The complete burst containing the preamble and the traffic data is used to phase modulate the radio frequency carrier. Thus, the composite burst, which is transmitted at RF, consists of a number of time slots. The received signal at an Earth station consists of bursts from all transmitting stations arranged in the frame format, and the RF carrier is converted into intermediate frequency, which is then demodulated. A separate preamble detector provides the timing information for the transmitter and the receiver, along with the carrier synchronizing signals for the phase demodulator. In many systems, a station receives its own transmission along with the others in the frame, which can then be used for the burst timing purposes. A reference burst is required at the beginning of each frame to provide the timing information for the acquisition and synchronization of burst. And in the Intelsat International Network, at least 2 reference stations are used, one in the east and one in the west. These are designated primary reference stations, one of which is further selected as master primary. Each primary station is duplicated by a secondary reference stations, making 4 reference stations in all. The fact that all the reference stations are identical means that any one can become the master primary. All the system timings is derived from the high stability clock in the master primary, and which is accurate in 1 part in 10 power line. A clock on the satellite is locked into the master primary, and this acts as the clock for the other participation at Earth stations. The satellite clock will provide a constant frame time, but the participating Earth station must make corrections for variations in the satellite range, since the transmitted burst from all the participating Earth stations must reach the satellite in synchronous. So in the Intelsat system, 2 reference bursts are transmitted in each frame. The first reference burst, which marks the beginning of the frame, is transmitted by the master primary reference stations and contains the timing information needed for the acquisition and synchronization of burst. The second reference burst, which is transmitted by the secondary reference stations, provides synchronization but not acquisition information. The secondary reference burst is ignored by the receiving Earth stations unless primary or master primary station fails. Thank you.